Rock and Roller Coaster may be getting a retheme. The popular roller coaster down in Walt Disney World at Hollywood Studios is facing some real trouble as they work to deal with a situation involving a musician and a sordid past that is coming back to haunt them, but it's from much, much longer ago than you might anticipate. Joining us today for our discussion is Jonas J. Campbell of That Park Place, the investigative reporter for the site. Make sure you go check out some of his work. He's been doing a fantastic job there. But we're going to go straight into this. Rock and Roller Coaster may be rethemed as Aerosmith's Steven Tyler faces sexual assault charges. This is out of WDWNT.com. And the fact that we're using them proves just how magnanimous I am. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is by Shannon Michelson. Jonas, welcome aboard. What can you tell us about what's going on with Steven Tyler?
Well, it looks like he's in a little bit of hot water. There was a statute change in the state of California that lifted the statute of limitations on abuse charges when they are related to a minor. But the deadline on that was the end of last year, December 31st, 2022. And so old news is relevant.
And as we get into this, we want to be very careful. We want to say that, of course, everybody who is accused of anything is always assumed innocent or presumed innocent until proven guilty. And we afford that to all individuals, including Mr. Tyler. We make no presumption as to whether these claims are accurate or inaccurate. We would hate to disparage anyone in that way. And we also make no presumption as to the accusations themselves, whether they are incorrect or correct, or true or partially true. We make no assumptions there whatsoever at all. But let's get into this. Reading right along, a woman who claims Steven Tyler assaulted her when she was a minor in the 1970s has filed a lawsuit against the lead singer for Aerosmith. We're going to be careful what we read on here because of the rules. But essentially, Steven Tyler is accused of doing things he should not have done at an age when it was inappropriate with someone else of an age that would be inappropriate. The suit does not name Tyler, but Holcomb has been public about her experiences with him in the past, and the suit quotes his memoir in which he said he almost took a teen bride and that her parents fell in love with me. That's a quote. Signed a paper over to have custody so he wouldn't get arrested if he took her out of state, and that he took her on tour with him. You get the idea. Now, this was previously known, you would have to assume, by the Walt Disney Company and anybody who was doing business with Steven Tyler. So it's not apparent to me that this is something that is just jumping out from behind the bushes at anybody in the corporation. But it is certainly one of those things that's a danger when you are dealing with celebrities. So if you're going to put your multi-million dollar, and that's an understatement, it's many, many, many millions of dollars investment, let's say an attraction like Rock and Roller Coaster, if you're going to put that in a theme park and base it around a celebrity, well, that comes with all sorts of pitfalls that come along. And so it's not just that a celebrity can do something that would get you in trouble or that would cause you to be reticent to put people on the ride and see what's going on, but also you could have situations, for example, where a celebrity were to be gravely injured or to die suddenly, and then you have this odd situation about, well, what do you do if the celebrity has passed away and now people are getting on the ride, seeing their image, and maybe that causes some people some stress and some grief, and it's just unpleasant and unclassy. And so we're in sort of one of those situations. It's not death, but we're in a situation where it's an ugly legal battle dealing with topics that Disney probably doesn't want to deal with, especially in regards to theme park attractions that are supposed to be fun. We won't get into all the sordid stuff around this, except to say that Rock and Roller Coaster was open in 1999, and also in Disneyland Paris, it was open in 2002, but according to WDWNT, it was recently replaced by Avengers Assemble Flight Force, which utilizes the same track. Despite occasional rumors, Disney has not removed Aerosmith from Rock and Roller Coaster, which would involve a near complete retheming of the ride. That I'm not sure I agree with that. No, no offense to the author. In 2016, Disney did digitally alter a hand gesture by Tyler that could be considered obscene, and it stayed there for a very long time. Rock and Roller Coaster will be closing in February 2023. And this is really the big news. And it's buried down here in the last paragraph. But Rock and Roller Coaster will be closing in February 2023 for a months-long refurbishment. It is scheduled to reopen in the summer. Disney did not announce details about the refurbishment, but it would likely only include general maintenance. I don't know that that's likely. Not any changes to the actual experience. However, this could change following the lawsuit against Tyler. Were Disney to remove Tyler and Aerosmith from the ride, it could potentially extend the refurbishment. All right, Jonas, let's put your theme park cap on for a moment. You are in charge over there. Let's say that you're the VP of Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World, Orlando, Florida. What would you be doing in this situation to remedy the fact that you are putting people onto a roller coaster where someone is credibly accused of something that's messy and that's going to probably continue to be messy? What say you, Jonas?
Well, I would have the same disagreement with the WDWNT author as well. This is probably a fairly simple ride to retheme, and I'm kind of surprised they haven't already done something like that. You would mostly have to change the video, a few posters, and the soundtrack.
Correct.
And Aerosmith does not own the rights to the Fender guitar out front, which is probably not actually a branded Fender guitar. I would take a playbook from Disney on this one. This is not the first time that a celebrity with a themed attraction at Walt Disney World has had a bit of an issue. You may remember Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas and several other big names collaborating with Michael Jackson on Captain EO.
Great reference, yes.
That went dark for a very long time.
And then they brought it back for a time as well. They brought it back for a nostalgia kick, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I would say about this Rock and Roller Coaster situation. You're right. It is easy to switch this over, and it doesn't require something nearly as extensive as the Disneyland Paris event. And also, let's just say for everybody who isn't aware, they cannot do what they did in Disneyland Paris with Rock and Roller Coaster in Florida. The reason for that is a contractual obligation that the Walt Disney Company has, in which they are not allowed to use the characters from the Avengers in their theme parks within the continental United States east of the Mississippi. And so that's why you can have the Avengers over on the West Coast. You can't have them over the East Coast. That does not extend to all Marvel characters. It only extends to characters which are used or referenced or are part of included franchises that are featured in Islands of Adventure at Universal Studios just across the way over in Orlando. And so they cannot turn Rock and Roller Coaster into an Avengers ride. But it would not be difficult to bring in another band, record a new pre-show, or even put just some sort of facade there to hold over for a little bit and do new songs, remove the starring Aerosmith that you see right now on that giant guitar that's out front. You could just replace it with whichever band you have. And one of the things that I have heard is that Disney is indeed now preparing contract negotiations with bands. I don't know who those bands might be, and I can't fully corroborate that, but that's what I'm hearing, is that they're already prepared for that. One of the reasons I'm comfortable in saying that before I can corroborate is, well, duh. That's what I would say. I would say, duh, that Disney is trying to get their paperwork in place, because what else are you going to do? What if something comes out tomorrow that is devastating and awful, and maybe there's proof or something, and you really need to get Aerosmith out of this ride fast? Well, of course, Disney is taking the steps to prepare for that. So, and you could strip the whole thing down and remove all references, switch the songs to something generic, and then have a placeholder going. But Jonas, we were talking before the video, it's likely that Disney has a contract with Aerosmith, putting them in this ride, and probably there's financials involved in this, and that contract, we believe, goes through 2028 for a variety of reasons. Now, you, Jonas, if you were going to change this over, if you were going to change it over to a new band, do you have any thoughts on what Disney should do. Should they go with, let's say, a legacy band such as Aerosmith, something that multi-generations can connect with, or should they go with somebody new, somebody hot, maybe somebody who's associated already with Disney? What say you on this one?
Well, of course, the rumor has been going around since I was in high school. Actually, I take that back. They weren't even popular then. That the Jonas Brothers were going to be part of the Retheme here. This was back in the days when there were rumors flying that MGM Studios would be
That's right.
rethemed as a Disney Channel park. That
Yes, and go ahead.
But if I were in Disney's shoes, I would get tired of constantly retheming shows for attractions for celebrities who continue to live their lives and continue to go on. You could even say the same situation about Ellen. Thankfully, her attraction was long gone by the time
Oh,
different
that's a
kinds of
great point. That's a
accusations came out about
fantastic
her.
point. Yes, the energy attraction that she had in Epcot was actually closed. Those dinosaurs were removed, and it was switched over to Cosmic Rewind before the major allegations came out against her. That's a fantastic point, Jonas. All right, so
So,
so getting away from those celebrities, continue on with your point.
well, I would say celebrities, but celebrities who are, forgive me for lack of a better term, very much dead. I would go with Queen.
Oh, wow, what an idea. That is a fantastic idea. I don't know what you do in the queue area, in the pre-show, but that is a fantastic idea. I'm blown away. That is a great idea, and people would love to ride that ride with some of the various soundtracks, for Queen. That's great. Um, well, that comes to the top of my list on ideas that I would go with. I will tell you, so one of the things here is that they're probably scrambling a little bit, and we've talked about this on That Park Place. They had a refurbishment already in place. Now these allegations are out. What do you do? Well, you can bring in a new band and you can record a new pre-show and you can put the new soundtracks in and whatever. But one of the things that Disney has thought about in the past, because it's called WDI, it's Walt Disney Imagineering. They're constantly doing blue sky concepts for how to improve and replace rides. And one of the things that has been floating out there in the past is that Disney could reconfigure this ride, at least the narrative surrounding it, so that you would be the star. And so when you were going to this ride, you would be, the storyline would be that you were auditioning for a band, let's say, and trying to get a music contract. And it's not known what that would involve. Perhaps it even involves you going through some sort of faux audition. There's just no telling. I would assume that would need some privacy involved, or else you're going to have some people who really don't want to participate. But and then you would be riding the limo to go to your concert where you're going to perform. And so that's one avenue that they would take it. That would require more time for the refurbishment, I'm sure. So if they want to do something bigger, then I think this refurbishment has to be a transitional phase. But I love the idea that you just came up with. That's fantastic to bring back, and it doesn't have to be Queen. It could be another band. But frankly, I think that's a brilliant idea. Now I know with Queen, there are still members of the band who are living, and that band is still touring. But just the idea of going to someone who has passed away and isn't controversial and maybe going to their estate, if you could do it in a classy way, I see nothing wrong with it as long as it's done in an appropriate, respectful, and classy manner. Um, so that's what's going on with Rock and Roller Coaster. I would say this is a sticky situation for Disney because they are now going to have multiple big rides that are going to be down. You've got Splash Mountain that is going to be down, and I don't think people have fully recognized how unpopular that's going to be, that Splash Mountain. Once the normies find out that ride is never coming back, yeah, some of them are going to be excited about Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but a bunch of them are going to be like, you know what? I just want to ride Splash Mountain. I love Splash Mountain, and now I'm being sucked into this situation because you got rid of Splash Mountain. So you've got that situation. You've got some other big rides that are going to be down for extended periods of time during 2023. Now you've got Rock and Roller Coaster added to the list, and already Hollywood Studios is one of the parks that has, well, Hollywood Studios has the least number of attractions of any of the Walt Disney World theme parks. So this will have an impact on queue times across the board. We don't know when it will end, right? So we don't know, does this mean that Rock and Roller Coaster returns in May, June, July, August, September? All of those could be possibilities depending on how you interpret that summer timeline. Jonas, talking about Hollywood Studios, talking about the theme park itself, what do you think Disney needs to do to revitalize that park beyond just Rock and Roller Coaster? Because that really is, I mean, they've spent tons and tons of money on that park, and still the queue times are atrocious. The wait times, are just, they're bloated. And especially with Tower of Terror, where it's located, that is going to become a real headache because other than Fantasmic and Tower of Terror, why do you have to go down Sunset Boulevard now because Rock and Roller Coaster is closed? I guess you could be going to the Lightning McQueen show, but really, how many people are going to be drawn into that? What are some things you think might be of interest going forward if Disney is to put any money into Hollywood Studios?
Well, forgive me for picking the low-hanging fruit, but I do believe The Mandalorian and Boba Fett are overdue to appear in Star Wars land in Galaxy's Edge over there. And there's, of course, the retheming of Galaxy's Edge, or sorry, the retiming of Galaxy's Edge for the original trilogy. That would reignite the park if it is, in fact, needing a reigniting right now. There's also probably the Muppets are due for a refresh. There's a lot of space over there that's just kind of hanging out. You really have to go out of your way to enjoy that area of the park.
Fantastic points all. We'll hold it there. I do want to say before we go, just be a little bit cautious about the opportunity to see the Mandalorian or Grogu appear at Hollywood Studios, as they may be holding that in reserve as a way to entice people to go to the Galactic Star Cruiser, even though those characters are already appearing at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. So there you go. All right, Rock and Roller Coaster, it's going down. How it returns, we don't know yet. Have people ridden Rock and Roller Coaster in its current incarnation for the last time already and didn't know it? We'll find out soon. This has been WDW Pro and Jonas J. Campbell of That Park Place. We hope you enjoyed it. We will see you tomorrow with another video. Keep coming back, and ladies and gentlemen, keep having fun.